Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever the time of the world you are to listen to this. Now is the best time. What we're going to do here is we're going to go through the osteotherapist crew briefing for Jordan 21. So thank you for your patience this coming over. Technology is now in place for this to be done properly. So what we're going to do, if I press the right buttons, I can do this and I can share to you this page. Look at that, isn't that clever? So what I'm going to do here is I'll go through the brief of the event, and if you get questions, ping them over in the WhatsApp group. So as I'm sure you all well know, it's 250 kilometers over 5 days for the Wadi Rum Desert. You're all probably in your hotels having a lovely time, catching up on sleep. Let's go through the first slide. So yes, this is where you will be going. It is amazing. I will let you find out where this is, because this is a very particular place you shall be revisiting. I've got lots out of this photo. So just a quick brief. I'm sure you've had the briefing with Sam and Ultrex, but just to go over this quickly. You've got your Saturday, you've had your crew briefing. The runners will start arriving today, and there should be a therapy team meeting led by Jen. We should be having a chat with you probably tomorrow at this rate, or later this evening. So on Sunday, there's a runner's briefing, I believe, in the morning. Then it's a coach drive off to the Wadi Rum Desert. The Wadi Rum Desert is a protected area. It's a beautiful part of the world. You have to have special permission to go in there, let alone do an event. So there's not going to be loads and loads of people going around. There are the local Bedouin people who live there, and then there may be other jeeps and tourist things going on in the background. So you may see some other forms of humanity while you're there. Monday to Friday, each day treatment is available before, during, and after the race. And on the Friday, there's a celebration in the desert. I don't know what it is, but last year was fun and a lot of dancing. Saturday, there'll be an early trip off to Petra, where you're going to get a good amount of hours to get down there and explore. It's a fascinating and wonderful place. And after Petra, once you've bought your souvenirs, coach back to the hotel, and there should be a celebration in the hotel on the Saturday night. And then whatever you're doing after there, whether you're returning or starting a holiday, off you go. So there should be 102 runners from last time I checked, which is a fairly high number ratio, which means you'll need to be quite punchy with the amount of treatment you give people. I've got no problem with people coming in for second helpings, but we're looking at 10, 15 minutes, quick case history, quick assessment, and get some treatment done. Obviously, if you don't have a queue, then please do indulge in that time, but we're only looking for about 20 minutes overall per person. But if they've got time and you want to do it and they've got extra areas they need to work on, then please do. They will understand, the runners will understand when there's a queue that you need to get through everybody, and just tell them that they're happy to come back when things are quieter. I've got no concerns or worries with anyone complaining about things, and a lot of the time we're treating with head torches on. So maybe some very long days. The ratio of runners should be male to female 3 to 3 to 2, from what I understand. Then there's quite a wide range of ages coming in. You'll have a mixture of what we call completers and competitors. Salameh Al-Hakra is the guy who will probably win this event if I was a betting man. He's won it every year time that we've done it before. He's also won the Marathon des Sables. He is a sensational runner and effortless through the sand. And then you can have some people who have never done an ultra before, let alone a multi-day. So in some ways, they've got no right to be at the start line, but there they are. They're going to crack on and they're going to do a great job. So lots of support and encouragement is needed for those people particularly. So hopefully you guys have seen the map of the event. There are some times where it does keep going up, and then some long drawn out flats. So it's a mixture of, but compared to some of the events, it's not a massive amount of elevation change over the 5 days. But yeah, camp 1 is fixed for day 1 and 2. You then move to the wild camp on day 3, and after day 3 you move to another final camp on day 4, 5. So all the medical support is being managed by XR medics. They've got at least 10 doctors, probably more. They are managing everything of a systemic nature that is life-threatening or health wobbling So not non-MSK essentially, but anything that involves a puncture wound, which includes blisters, so anything that increases the risk of infection, they're managing with all their wonderful care and support. But then you've obviously got other things like heat stroke, hyponatremia, dehydration, etc. So do let them take the lead on that. That is their job. We are managing everything MSK. And the medics over there will know this, and they'll be keen to have you guys on board. And a lot of them will want to watch what you're doing and ask you lots of questions, because MSK in their world is a very small part, which is rightly so. It's like we're plumbers, they're carpenters, two different trades, same sort of world. So a therapist of the role is PreEvents. So there may be like some people on Saturday or Sunday who are coming up to you in the Rafe briefing saying, I've got this, I've got that. So you may want to have a chat with them. And if you're feeling uber keen, or they really do need something done, then grab a couch, grab a space, and feel free to do some treatment on them. So yeah, and then any urgent treatment they need on the Sunday or the Monday before the start, then please do. I will say this now for those who don't know, the number of gloves we have is limited. We've got enough for 1,000 treatments, which should be about 2 people. So one person getting 2 treatments a day for every 5 days. Obviously, at the first day or two, there may be less people coming in. Once word gets out that we're epic, and it can really help, we may be doing more treatments at the end of the day. So all I can only urge and encourage is that we do be careful with how many gloves we're using, particularly ones we're breaking when it's hot and sweaty, you're trying to get your gloves on. So just be aware of that, guys. I'll bring it up later, I'm sure. So you got during the event, the treatment prior to the race can start really early, as in 4 o'clock. That means getting up at 3. So you've got some time, so you've got time to be at your couches while people get strapped up and pushed off, particularly I think on day 4, which is the longer day. Then you've got treatments at the checkpoints. So there should be at least, there'll be definitely 1 and sometimes 2 therapists at a checkpoint. Jenny and Sam and Guy will be organising that between you about where are the pinch points where more therapists will be needed as people start to break down. Checkpoints are around 10K. So they'll vary pending the geography of the route. And some therapists can be roaming in trucks or pop-up aid stations brought in because it's very, very hot and it's a very, very long day. So be aware that you may need to be agile and mobile. And obviously then you've got the post-run treatment at the end of each day at camp. One of the key roles of for us to work on here is to make sure once our checkpoint is down, we are the first people back to the camp. So if sometimes there may be a delay because there's a car problem or there's only 1 vehicle, you have to be in that car to either get to the next checkpoint or get back to camp. That's incredibly important. The last thing we want to start building up a queue where the people coming in last, who have been out on the course longest and most tired, are not getting treatment for another 2 hours when we're eating into their sleeping time. So when we get back to camp, get those couches set up, get everything ready to go. Make sure you're protecting yourself from the sunshine, not only from a sun cream point of view, but getting cover. There'll be marquees and all the bits and pieces over there, and marquees, gazebos, and tarpaulins to create yourself some shade. So yeah, I don't want to keep reiterating that point, but yeah, please be punchy and get back. Post events, there is some treatment available on the Friday if people are absolutely shattered on the Fridays they're coming across the finish line, which is a wonderful experience. Feel free to give people advice and support for the next few weeks of their life or speaking to someone in their area. But if you happen to meet someone who works or lives near your clinic, I've got no problem with you sharing details about what you do, and because if they want to continue working with you because they liked your work, then please take advantage of that moment. Potential injuries. So common muscle soreness. It's a fascinating experience, feeling how the soft tissue slowly changes over 5 days. It can go from being incredibly stiff to very, very soft and painful. Some people actually come out of these events feeling better than when they came in because they've had 5 days of our support. So it'd be a fascinating experience, I'm sure, for you all. Tendinopathy, there'll be some taping videos coming out later they may even be heading to the start line with either subclinical tendinopathy or an actual raging one that they've just gone, sod it, let's get into the start line. Taping is a key thing to use for this in terms of offloading the tissue, so the tape can take some of the work, but also looking at the contractile tissues between either tendons to try and help loosen and work on those from a neuromuscular point of view, but also from a physical point of view. Skin chafing, it will happen, definitely, and especially quite hot out there this year. Vaseline is useful, but when you come to put anything then on that skin, it will slide straight off. So I tend to use Hyperfix as a barrier between skin and whatever is rubbing. It's quite hypoallergenic, it's very soft on the skin, so that's probably my go-to. Just keep an eye that people will be sweating, so sometimes you may have to go round a limb or round a torso to hold something in place. Sprains will happen, ankles, wrists, ACs from a FOOSH, which is still my favorite acronym. Again, videos will be out for that. I know Freddie and Jen and Natasha particularly have seen these with me, but refer to the videos that will come out later by YouTube. This is something we probably won't naturally think of. Cervical and thoracic area, rib facet pain, lots of heavy breathing, so intercostal areas, carrying a bag for 5 days, which the runners may not have done before, let alone training 2 days in a row, let alone 5. You want to be thinking about getting their posture from being all hunched over to being open and upright, pecs, thoracic extensions, scalenes, all those sort of areas. Potential injuries that are uncommon. You're looking at stress fractures. Obviously, people arriving with some kind of stress response. If you have a look at the Fredrickson scale, it's quite a nice summary of 0 to 4, where some people may have a stress response to start with. People may actually develop while they're out there. These are things to be keeping in mind. Obviously, incredibly hard to diagnose a stress fracture without some kind of imaging, but the pain tends to get worse come on pretty much straight away, worse while they're running, and then pain will last after the run. That's a discussion between you, the runner, and the doctor about whether you think it's going to make it worse. We'll come on to people withdrawing later. Muscle tears on the British Athletics classification I use is from grade 0 to 4. Have a quick Google of that. It's well worth having a look. Taping, muscle replacement taping, which is almost a copyright of mine. I haven't come across anyone else who does it. If someone does, please tell me. Otherwise, I shall bask in my new invention. So using tape, so depending on whether it's a significant tear or not, you can use the K-tape to provide some support and some spring, or you can use the zinc oxide to completely replace the muscle function by avoiding going into the areas and the range that's sore, and then using the tape to essentially to pull the limb back into place. Again, these will be on videos, so do have a good look. Concussions are mainly a medical intervention, but people will be falling, tripping, and or fainting, depending how tired and worn out they are. And some of the surfaces, particularly if they're switched off, they won't be looking at properly. So do think about concussions. If anyone has done SCAT5 concussion screening, you obviously probably don't do the whole protocol because it's quite a long one, but thinking about questions about concussions. If you're unfamiliar with SCAT5, do have a quick Google. Deep lacerations, obviously a medical intervention, but basic first aid if you happen to be on hand and the medic's not around. And the final thing is cervicogenic headaches can be mistaken for dehydration or heat stroke. I'll leave you guys to look at that, particularly with what's going with suboccipitals and upper thoracics and so that sort of world. Posture related, typically. COVID protocol, as I told you about the gloves, we have 2,000 individuals and about 1,000 pairs, strangely. So I'm expecting, I've put that many gloves in. We are not using aprons just because it's ridiculously hot and it will encourage you to sweat more. Hand sanitizer is in your bag and with Ultra X. So when you're doing taping, don't use gloves. If someone's just coming for taping, don't put the gloves on to start with. It's a waste of gloves. Obviously, if you started with gloves, take them off for the taping because you'll be sticking your hands together with the tape, wasting gloves and wasting tape. The final thing, from a due diligence point of view, I always suggest this with every person comes in. probably more than a suggestion, it's a mandatory, is having a dictaphone function on your mobile phone. So you'll take a brief note, voice note to yourself, the runner's number, presentation, assessment, and treatments, and just save that onto your phone locally. And at the end of the week, we'll talk about how to give it back to me. Chain of command, Jamie and Sam have ultimate control of all race decisions. They will cede their medical systemic issues to XR medics, but Jamie and still Sam will have the final call. It's highly unlikely that a runner will kick off a real fuss and try and run without the permission of XR medics or Jamie and Sam. We had one person who was a bit grumpy, but they got over it when they realized that they may kill themselves if they continue. So do have a chat with Freddie, Jenny, and Natasha, because they've done these events before. You do get a good say on whether a person should be continuing if it's a musculoskeletal problem. The doctors and the medics, it's not their world, so they will hopefully be ceding the responsibility to you and the runner. Have a good discussion about what you can do and whether it's going to create a significant injury later down the line. You'll be surprised what a bit of tape and a bit of rest can do. So do try and make these calls on the moment they're about to start running, or when they're at a checkpoint. They may want to go on. Please let them, but very quickly they'll either turn around, which we have had, or they'll just have a very, very slow walk to the final checkpoint, the next checkpoint, where they will probably pull out. But it's keen to make a note of that and pass on any information forward to any of the checkpoint ahead of you, so they are aware that someone's coming in who is in pieces. Okay, fine. So I hope that makes a lot of sense. We've gone through all the luggagey stuff because you're out there. So please don't worry about that. And the final thing are questions. So please feel free to throw questions over to me. I will be obviously on the end of my WhatsApp. I understand you're in the desert, but a couple of the nights, Ben Tufnell, I think every night actually, Ben Tufnell and the media team are heading to an area that has internet connection to do all their media and upload the stories and posts for the day. If you have questions you want to send back to me, send them via Ben Tufnell. Ben knows me well, and he can send any things over to me. So I will give Ben a heads up about that. So I hope you've enjoyed this wonderful presentation, and if you get any, I hope you have a lovely, lovely time, and I look forward to hearing how you've got on. Have fun, guys.